with Neal Sofian, who is Director Member Engagement of Premera Blue Cross, based out of Seattle.
Right.
How are you, Neal?
Great. Glad to be here.
Good. You participated in a panel earlier today. Can you tell me a little bit about what you talked about?
We were talking about two things. One was the role of how does payment increase engagement? Can you use payment, making payments simpler, easier, more effective for the member, and ultimately for the provider and for the payer, a better experience and therefore a better way of getting people engaged in their health?
And can you?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now, healthcare is incredibly complicated, incredibly convoluted, and dense to figure out. I think we can create tools that, one, make it simple to pay, literally just like your online bill. It should be that simple for you. We should consolidate it so we understand how these things come together for you. And then more importantly, which is where we're not at yet, so companies like Insumed where they really did talk about, they're working on that, but we also need to help. What about the person who has a gap between what there's in their HSA and their deductible? We need to help with that yet. We still need to help with people who have ongoing expenses that may be outside of traditional care. So we have a long way to go yet to make it simple, but there's tools that are there. The next half is saying, okay, now I know something about you because you're paying. I may have helped you pay your doc, I may have made it easy for you. What have I learned about you in that course of payment? Did I learn something that told me about your health needs so that I can now actually reach out to you based upon what you bought in the past and help you in the future before you even know you need it? Okay. Which starts to sound a lot like, oh, Amazon.
Right, and people seem to be open to that kind of system.
I think some people will say, well, people don't want your payer to do that. It's Big Brother. But do you have a loyalty card at the grocery store?
Sure.
Do you have Prime at Amazon?
Yes.
Are you sharing lots and lots and lots of data today with your Visa card?
Yeah, and so are my kids and everybody else.
And why do you do it? Because you're getting value.
And convenience.
Right. So as long as you get something in return, you're willing to share stuff.
Okay.
I think the problem has been too often we're perceived as not providing the value, so therefore we're intrusive.
Okay. We talked a little bit about your background, Neal,
yeah.
before we came on camera, and you actually worked in the 70s with substance abuse issues. We seem to be where we are today, back to where you were in the 70s.
In some ways, yeah.
Do you see a lot of similarities?
Yes, in the sense that problems are the same. Yes, in the sense that people remain people. And part of the reason we still have the problem is because we still think if we just give people the right information, they'll do the right thing. I think almost everybody knows smoking's bad for you. I think most people would say drugs are bad for you. Most people know it's better to exercise than to not. Most people know that they should eat well. And so you can say, raise your hand if you know that these are, okay, and everyone, how many of you exercise enough? How many of you? Well, you have the information. What we've missed, and particularly in healthcare, is understanding what motivates people to behave the way they do. What drives you to what are the predisposing factors? What are the social determinants that make a difference? And until we address those meaningful underlying issues for you, we're not going to get those behaviors to change.
What's your approach to the current opioid epidemic at Premera Blue Cross?
Well, at Premera Blue Cross, that's not a major issue for us. It's not part of our, I would say that it's much more an issue more in the Medicaid populations. We don't do Medicaid. So I wouldn't say it's a Blue Cross problem. I think it's more of a societal problem, to be honest. And so you're seeing actually in Seattle, Washington, they're passing a law that will allow for example, safe injection sites, which don't exist anywhere else in the United States yet. The only place in North America is Vancouver, British Columbia, and saying that we will have unlimited help with you around overdose. If you can inject in a safe site, we can help you in case you do overdose, which some people would say, well, isn't that condoning or encouraging? And actually, I don't think people are addicted to heroin so they can go to a safe site. I think, or OxyContin or something like that. So I think if you take a public health point of view as opposed to a criminal justice point of view and say, let's reduce harm, let's be available, let's help, let's educate, and then when they're ready, we can help them change, has way more potential than a criminal justice approach. That's my view.
Right,
I wouldn't say
right.
that's not an organizational view, that's Neal's view.
And is, Neal, are you leaving attendees with other takeaways from your comments today?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest takeaway is if I want to make a change for you, instead of talking about information or even segmentation of information, you're a segment of one. You're an individual. There's a lot of things about you that are unique to you, especially when you put the combination of the things. So when I communicate to you, I need to be sufficiently intimate to be meaningful to you and sufficiently on target to be relevant to you. And those are the things we have to do in terms of how we learn and how we communicate, and that's a big gap we have to do in healthcare yet.
Okay, we're going to leave it there.
Great.
Thank you, Neal.
My pleasure.
And I'm Mabel Jong. Thanks for watching.